It would be important to you
Why?
if someone who is supposed to be in the district is suddenly told they're not in the district and they have a rateable ready to go right over here on Bracken and Goodwill, on 208 and Goodwill Road. You should know who is in the sewer district, so you can call an even and fair vote on everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
She's a taxpayer.
It's about the thing they're giving out at town hall.
She has every right.
Because I'll tell you the answer, because everyone else has talked about it. So now you're saying she's not entitled to talk about it? What kind of, you got nothing to say.
Why are you
If you had a brain, you'd be sitting up
The
here.
other guy to talk, and now you're shutting him up?
That's enough. That is enough.
Yeah, get the police.
The town board publicly discussed and considered the need for a qualified independent sanitary engineering firm to completely document and evaluate as well as sign their name to a final and well-planned directive for the Sickly sewage treatment plant on Neely Town Road. The directive, and the entire town board agreed upon it, was whether or not it should be scrapped or replaced, enhanced or repaired. The vacillating, tenuous bits of information that the board was getting was not reliable. The other directive was based on future build-out of all commercial zone properties. What volume will the town need to have in place to handle it? In order to plan a proper sewage treatment plant, these criteria need to be clearly laid out and defined. A town of this size and growing at this rate will not succeed if it is relying on a shoddy, haphazard infrastructure. Works for a very small system, that kind of method, but not for a big one. And the DEC stated clearly, and all board members from 2004 to 2007 received that memo. Do not cut corners on infrastructure. Ask Blue Beacon Truck Wash. The town took out a bond for $1.2 million in 2000 to repair the failing sewage treatment plant. This is really important. After the $1.2 million was received and the plant was repaired, Blue Beacon Truck Wash was getting full sewage backwash, like right into the motel. Do you entice new future, like really good commercial industrial ventures with a sewage treatment plant that's going to maybe flush toilet water and everything in it into your facility? That is why we got an independent sanitary engineer, and that was one of the things that Mr. Dempsey voted on along with all the other board members. It was nothing that was railroaded through. All this was done in public, on the books, on the record. It says in this letter, Opus never received a response. How do you know they never received a response from the town board, the prior administration? I'm looking at Mr. Feller and Mr. Dempsey. How do you know they never received a response?
The attorney told us that.
What attorney?
Mr. Loeb.
He did, huh?
He did.
So Mr. Loeb, who was our attorney at the time?
I don't recall. Richard Lloyd? I'm not sure.
Stuart Rosenwasser.
No.
So
Got
now
me there.
Stuart Rosenwasser's credibility has just been put in the limelight here.
He was directed to respond.
Don't you remember?
Refresh my memory.
I don't need to. You should know. You should have done your homework.
They don't do that.
Seriously.
They
You
just-
should know
They
that.
just put out lies and they expect everybody to go for it.
Mr. Rosenwasser, our attorney at the time, who was working with Ben Ostra, reported to the board that Opus was informed that the town was doing a complete independent evaluation of the sewage treatment plant. The town could not document an agreement for a financial amount for Opus to buy into the sewage treatment plant until the town had a reliable and dependable signed plan for the sewage treatment plant infrastructure in hand. How do we know how much we want from Opus until we know what our new plant is going to cost us? No one still knows that.
You and Joan weren't at the meeting when the
Pardon?
670. You and Miss Buck Smith were not at the meeting when the $675,000 figure was arrived at.
You were at the meeting when Stuart Rosenwasser and Ben Ostra went over all of these.
I'm talking about the meeting that you had with their attorney.
No, we had a meeting boardroom. You were at some of those meetings too. I incorporated every board member in as many different infrastructure, municipal related, huge capital investment projects as possible, so everyone was keyed into what was going on. And I relied heavily on you and Mark because you were here longer. I'm not happy that you put my name on something that's not true. That the developer said that Joan was in attendance. Who's the developer?
Whoever represented Opus.
But he told you, evidently, he told you that Joan was there 2 years ago, so who was it? Who's the principal
Feller?
of Opus?
Who wrote the letter?
Yeah,
I
they
don't have
supposedly
all
wrote
those
the
in front of me right now.
Well, you must know if he told you personally.
They
Are
just
they
signed
here?
their name to
Did I
it.
say that?
Well, you put it in your letter, so I'm wondering where you get the information to put my name on something that's saying I wasn't covering all the bases, when that is all I set out to do. You wrote this? You mailed it? You
Part of
paid
it,
it out?
yes. I did not write the complete document.
Who
no.
wrote it?
It was a combination.
Of what?
You and Mr. Feller.
We went over all this about who I
Who
signed.
went over all it? You and Mr. Feller or you and somebody else?
Yeah, Mr.
My
Fowler.
name's on it, Mr. Hayes.
I understand.
And during election, my name was on things that were false claims,
Yeah.
but that's campaign stuff. This is different. Okay? Excuse me, I would like
No.
to know.
Let's get back to just the public hearing part, and then you guys can discuss this later on.
No, let's do it
No,
in
we want to
public.
hear it now.
You're making accusations in public, do it in
You mailed
public.
I don't think that's fair.
You mailed this out with my name on it, full of false information. You know, you put your name on it.
I'm for the debit project and I'd like.
I'm for the debit project too. I was for them 3 years ago.
Okay, excuse me from the audience, can we please stop?
Trial.
From the audience,
That's because they're liars.
When your name ends up on a piece of information that gets mailed around full of false documents, and you have a professional degree that
Okay.
you earned yourself,
I'm really not
you take the
interested.
rights to defend.
from the audience, please be quiet, unless you raise your hand, you're acknowledged.
So you don't know who Hudson Valley Crossing is?
I don't know who they are.
I'm just wondering, how you got all this information about what was done and what wasn't done when you were sitting here as a board member and it totally conflicts with reality. I'm not happy about it, and the next time you put my name on anything, you better do your homework and not rely on somebody else to write this palaver for you.